Hi everybody and welcome to English Digest. I'm Pat.
And I'm Elsie.
And today we're going to be reading through our translation unit for this month. We've got two pairs of sentences. They're kind of linked this month. They've got a certain amount in common. But it's all about career goals and personal goals. Now, do you feel you're able to kind of match those at the moment?
Yeah, kind of. So my current career goal is that I hope that I could open up my own cram school.
Okay, which you kind of did?
In maybe 5 to 8 years?
Oh, okay, it's a long-term goal.
Yeah, a long-term goal.
Okay.
Right. What about yours?
And is that also, but that's not quite a personal goal.
Can you define personal goals for me?
Well, I suppose, okay, in my example then, career goals might be one thing, but mostly they've gone to sleep for a bit. Children. Yeah. Because children have taken over both of these, but personal goals will be things like, I would love to do, this play with these people, would be one example. Or I want to publish these books, these stories, whether that's through working really hard to find a publisher or just spending some time learning the self-publishing route for going on Amazon or whatever. Now, at the moment, I don't have time for either of those, so personal goals has shrunk to maybe I can find some time to write once a week and career goals are like, I just need everything to be quiet. So I've got enough energy to go home and be parent goal, which is sort of above both career and personal. But a personal goal would be something I want to do in my spare time that has nothing to do with work.
Oh, so if I say I want to be able to start working out again in a week, that would be my personal goal, right?
Yeah, or I've got an ambition to travel to such and such a country, to see such and such a thing, to, whatever. Everyone's is different. But can you think you can balance them?
It's hard, but...
It really is.
But I'll try.
Exactly, and that's kind of what we lead into with our first set of sentences. So in part A, sentence 1 is, there is often a conflict between advancing one's career and pursuing personal dreams. As Elsie has just demonstrated, saying it's hard to meet these personal goals.
Right, 是很难的。所以发展个人职涯与追求个人梦想之间往往存在着冲突。时态呢，我们会用现在简单式来描述事实。
And then if you like me, if you've then putting children into that, a lot of career goals and personal goals maybe just get parked or shoved aside for a bit because you've got other goals of them. But there you go.
Yeah, and I don't think we have enough time in a day to, deal with so many things.
And also sleep.
Yes.
and look at my phone for a bit to chill out.
This is so hard.
So that's why there is a conflict, and a conflict is a clash where two things are in argument or they both can't happen at the same time. It's difficult to balance them. Now, we can talk about conflicts between countries, like the war or conflict in Ukraine. Could be a conflict between people, like, the two heads of department are in conflict, or the staff is in conflict with their manager, or something like that. It could be just a personal argument or a fight between friends, a couple, whatever. We can also be in conflict with ourselves, stuck between what we want and what we know we should do. And like most great novels and plays are about conflict between this is what I want, but this is what I should do. And we call that internal conflict. And this is what we're talking about in this sentence, a conflict between trying to do two different things that you likely can't give the same amount of energy to. You might say, for example, John's desire to go to bed was in conflict with the knowledge that he needed to clean up his living room.
好，我们讲了这么多的 conflict， 它代表就是冲突。那常见的用法呢，有第一个 conflict between A and B， 那就是表示两者之间的冲突。那第二个是 conflict with somebody， 那就是与某人的冲突。那第三个是 conflict over something， 那就是在某事物或议题上面的冲突。那第二跟第三种呢，也可以结合为 in conflict with somebody over something， 那就是代表因点点点与某人产生冲突。所以例句再给同学们一个哦 The two neighbors were in conflict with each other over the placement of the new fence between their properties。 这两位邻居呢，因为彼此土地间新围篱的位置而起了冲突。
So like a lot of words, this can be turned into adjectives. You could say you feel conflicted, so the ed ending to describe yourself, or you have conflicting goals, the ing ending describing things. And here the conflicting goals are advancing one's career and pursuing personal dreams. To advance something means to make it go further, usually to something higher or better. To advance your career means you're getting better jobs with more pay and other benefits, travel or management roles or more time off, whatever it happens to be. You might say, taking these management courses will advance my career prospects.
好，接下来呢，我们看到发展职涯的动词，我们可以用 advance 或是 further。好，它们都有推进或是增进的意思。那用于职涯的语境当中呢，则是表示发展或者是取得进展。所以呢，例句我们可以说 The scientist furthered his research by collaborating with experts in other fields。那位科学家借由与其他领域的专家合作，拓展自己的研究。
So you could advance your career, but maybe you want to pursue or chase your dreams. And this means to go after something you want, take action to make your dreams come true. The sentence is clear that this doesn't mean career goals. So this isn't pursuing your dreams like, oh, I want to do this as a job. But it's maybe personal things like doing great with a hobby, putting your family first, travel, maybe dealing with a health issue or something like that. It could be anything of that sort. There's a phrase that I often think of for this kind of thing. Do you live to work or work to live? If you live to work, then you're really putting your career first. You're kind of thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to make money? How am I going to climb up a corporate ladder or get to be my own boss? But if you work to live, you're usually, okay, I like this job. It's reasonably comfortable. It pays okay. And it gives me enough time for myself to do my things, for my family, to travel, to be with friends, whatever. And I don't get too stressed. And I would maybe suggest that Elsie is more of the live to work, whereas right now in my life I am work to live.
Probably I'm more of a work to live too.
Work, really?
Yeah.
Okay. But even though your career goals are about building opening a school and stuff?
I have to work to live to earn enough money so that I can, pursue my dream in the future.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a balance, and that's what the whole second sentence is. And let's look at pursue and chase first.
OK， 追求呢可以译作 pursue 或是 chase， 所以呢我们可以说 The young athlete worked tirelessly to chase her dream of competing in the Olympics。 那位年轻运动员不眠不休追逐着他前进奥运参赛的梦想。
So yes, back to the idea of, okay, doing both career and personal goals, work and life. And the sentence says, for number sentence 2, however, if we can balance both, our lives will be richer and more fulfilling.
这句话的中文是但若我们能够兼顾两者的话呢，我们的生活就会更加的丰富而且充实。那时态当然一样，是要用现在简单式描述事实。So for me, I think if we could have 48 hours a day, then we could we could balance both.
I think a 4-day week.
4-day week?
Yeah, this is something you might see more about in the news. It was tried in the UK, and I think there's an article in one of our other magazines about it, but a 4-day work week to give people 3 days of weekend to balance they have to work harder for those 4 days, but they get 3 days off to devote to their personal stuff.
That's probably would be better, right?
It's worth a try. So when there's a conflict like the one in our first sentence, then we need to strike a balance or find a balance. Now, we can use balance as a verb, as in our sentence. We can balance both. Or as a noun, like I just did. find or strike a balance. The idea is to treat two things equally and give them similar amounts of time and attention. So we're talking about work and life, but of course there's study and life. And this is something I'm sure affects and will affect and has affected most of you. And here's a good example. Many college freshmen struggle to balance their studies with all the social opportunities available at universities.
兼顾也就是在两者当中取得平衡，所以动词我们可以用 balance 来作为翻译。那 balance 也可以当作名词使用，所以呢，取得平衡也可以说 strike a balance between A and B。那另外一方面呢，兼顾在这边也可以理解为投注相同的时间在两者之上，所以这个句子呢也能够译作 We can devote equal time to both。那再来呢，给同学们一个例句是 It's essential to strike a balance between work and leisure to maintain a healthy lifestyle. 为了维持健康的生活模式，取得工作与休闲间的平衡是关键。
And a quick note about that word, leisure, both pronunciations are okay. Leisure is more common in British English, I think. So, if you can find time for both your career and your personal dreams, you will have a richer and more fulfilling life. Now, rich and fulfilling are similar in meaning, but they're not exactly synonyms. They don't mean exactly the same thing. And here, we don't mean richer as in having more money, but in having more choices, more opportunities, and kind of having a higher value or quality. That's what rich means here. For example, traveling abroad gives people many rich experiences as they try new things, learn about other cultures, and broaden their horizons.
丰富的我们可以用 rich 或是 varied 来说。那此外呢，如同中文可以用多彩多姿形容生活丰富，英文你当然也可以用 colorful 或是 vivid 这两个字来表示相同的概念。So for example, the restaurant's menu provided varied options, satisfying the preferences of both vegetarians and meat eaters alike. 这间餐厅的菜单选择丰富，素食与荤食者的偏好都可以满足。
So in this case, rich is more used to describe a thing or a set of things and describing kind of the opportunities it presents. But fulfilling is more about how it affects a person. So people's lives won't just be richer, they will be more fulfilling, which means that people will feel satisfied and rewarded in their lives. They will feel that they have accomplished something. If there is something fulfilling, then it will give you a sense of pride and satisfaction when you do it. You'll think, yeah, this was worth it. It's helped me grow. It was definitely something I would recommend to others. So it's a bit different from rich. Here's an example. Volunteering at an animal shelter was a very fulfilling experience.
充实的形容词我们可以用 fulfilling， 那动词呢就是 fulfill， 满足这个字。好，那充实也可以理解为有意义的，所以也可以译作 meaningful 或者是 purposeful。那这边的例句呢，给同学们是The charity event was not only enjoyable, but also purposeful.As it raised funds for a children's hospital. 由于这场慈善活动呢是为一间儿童医院所募款，所以它不仅欢乐也很有意义。
Okay, so that was a good bit of discussion about our first pair of sentences. The second pair of sentences is slightly related, but we'll take a short break before we look at those. Okay, so let's move on to part B, 2 more sentences. And before we start, let's think about when have we tried something new or different, and how well did that work out for us?
You know, I haven't tried anything new or different in probably 2 years.
Well, we are slightly older than we used to be. There are fewer new things, and if we go back to part A, less time to be able to try it in.
Right, especially since the outbreak of COVID.
Yeah, I mean, now that's over, some of these opportunities are opening up again.
But before that, I was really into working out. So I got a license for fitness training.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Yes, but I, haven't started working as a trainer.
Okay, you can get me in shape. That'll be the hardest job you've ever done. Okay, yeah, I've tried a bunch of new and different things. I mean, the most obvious one is I left England and I came to Taiwan to leave what was a pretty good job and a fairly comfortable life and quite a nice apartment to just all right, I'm going to throw it all on, throw the dice and see what it's like to teach English abroad. I've been here for over 15 years. So, yes, it worked out. And if you ever meet me in person and take a look at one of my legs, there's a tattoo which says, "You never know your luck," in Chinese.
If you hadn't met your wife,
yes,
would you have stayed here?
Hard to say. Gut feeling is probably no. I think I would have tried somewhere else just to experience a different culture. I'd kind of looked at Indonesia a bit because I fancied living somewhere even hotter. And I did have an idea when I moved here in 2008 of, well, what if I hop around the world and try a few different places and end up in Brazil in time for the 2014 FIFA World Cup? So I'm there. Didn't happen. Never mind.
Didn't happen, but it was very romantic. You came here, you met the love of your life. And you started a family here.
Indeed. So, yeah, and I did that because I tried something new, different, and I moved outside my comfort zone. And that's what this sentence says. Sentence 1, to ensure personal growth, we should avoid staying in our comfort zone.
这句话的中文是呢，为了确保个人的成长，我们应该避免待在舒适圈当中。那时态当然一样，是现在简单式，描述事实。
So to ensure something is to make sure of something, to guarantee, or at least really try to guarantee that it happens. So what we're saying here is if you want to make personal growth happen, then we must or we should do this. If you don't step outside your comfort zone, you are a lot less likely to grow as a person. Here's a more regular sentence using ensure. Please arrive at the airport 2 hours before your flight to ensure you have plenty of time to check in and go through security.
确保我们可以用 ensure 好，或者是 guarantee， 还有一个是 make sure of。所以呢，我们可以说paying a security deposit doesn't guarantee that tenants will take good care of the property. 支付保证金呢是没有办法确保房客会好好照顾房子的。那再给同学们一个例句就是呢 By practicing his speech several times, Emery made sure of a confident and error-free presentation. 这个人呢透过好几次的练习演说，以确保他能呈现一场自信而且正确无误的报告。
So the thing we should or maybe must do to ensure personal growth is to avoid something. We'll mention that in a moment. To avoid means to stay away from, to not get involved with, just to not do. We can say avoid a noun, like avoid the traffic. Or you could do avoid and a V-I-N-G form of a verb, like avoid crossing the road before the light changes to green. So yeah, as a noun, we can, or followed by a noun, we can take a different road to avoid this heavy traffic.
避免我们可以用动词 avoid， 那之后呢可以接上名词。如果你要接动词的话，请记得把它换成动名词哦。那形成的就会是 avoid 加上名词或者是 VING 的结构。那此外呢，这边也可以译作 keep clear of。所以呢，我们用 keep clear of 来造一个句子。The lifeguard warned swimmers to keep clear of the rough waves near the rocky shore。那一名救生员警告泳客避开沿滩附近的急流。
And this whole thing, this double set of sentences, is about your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is a situation where you are comfortable. You're not being challenged to do new or difficult things. You feel confident that you can do a great job with whatever task or activity you need to do. So to step outside one's comfort zone means to deliberately choose to get in a situation where you're not really sure what to do and you have to start learning all over again and you have to accept that you're not going to do everything perfectly first time. So you might say, for example, Nathan has been in this job for over a decade now. He's in his comfort zone and doesn't want to leave it.
舒适圈可以译作 comfort zone， 好，所以 comfort 代表舒适，那 zone 代表区域。那常说呢，踏出某人的舒适圈，所以我们要搭配的是 step out of， 或者是 move beyond one's comfort zone.
Now, I will just throw in a counter-argument here. There is something to be said for a comfort zone if you've got other things going on in your life.It's not good to be outside multiple comfort zones at the same time because it all might just fall apart. You kind of need some kind of stability, I might argue. My personal experience for this will be I did leave this job here and I went to work for another company for a while. And when I was working for that other company, it was challenging, it was enjoyable, but it wasn't easy. And at that point, I found out I was going to have a child. And then I found out that this job, my old job, was available again. And so I thought, you know what? I don't want to be trying to do the new job, which also involved a long commute in the morning, while having a new baby at home and being a parent for the first time. If I go back to my old job, okay, maybe I'm moving back into my comfort zone, but my personal life is going to be way outside my comfort zone because I'm a parent.So I'll have a comfort zone at work while my personal life is a mess and full of new challenges.
Yeah, so we can't just step out of our comfort zones whenever we want to. We still have to be responsible for our own lives.
Yeah, so it's like the first pair of sentences says. There is a balance to be had between being comfortable in certain things while still challenging yourselves.
Right.
Challenging yourselves is important, and that's what sentence 2 says. By constantly challenging ourselves, we can display our full potential.
这句的中文是呢，藉由不断的挑战自己，我们才可以展现全部的潜能。那时态一样，是以现在简单式来描述事实。
To do something constantly means to not stop doing it. Now, of course, this doesn't mean you do it all day, every day, 24/7. It just means you do this thing very often and you never stop because you think, enough is enough. You know, I've done enough. For example, the student is constantly talking in class and it makes his teacher and classmates mad. So again, he's not talking non-stop all the time. He's just doing it most of the time and he never really stops.
是的，就是不断的意思。那可以用 constantly 这个副词，或者是 consistently， 还有一个是 continually。好，这三个都是 adverbs， 都是副词。那例句给的是呢 ，The chef consistently monitored the cooking process, adjusting the heat and seasoning to achieve perfect flavors. 那位大厨监控烹调的过程，调整了火候与调味，以煮出完美的风味。
So here, the thing you're constantly doing is challenging yourself. A challenge is something difficult, something that takes thought or effort to do. You might not succeed. If you challenge yourself, to use the verb, you decide to undertake a task or job that you know won't be easy. You might not be able to complete it, but if you do, you'll go, okay, I know now I can do that now. I'm more confident. I've gained a skill. You've leveled up like in a video game. You might say, for example, Manny's boss challenged him to make more sales in the following month.
挑战我们可以用到动词 challenge。那此外呢，挑战自己也可以用下面的两种方式来解读哦。第一个是为自己设下新的目标，所以也可以说 set ourselves new goals， 或者是第二个企图使自己变得更好，所以呢也可以译作 aim to better oneself。
Yeah, get more XPs. Just level up. However, if you step outside your comfort zone, you can display your full potential. To display means to show, and here it could mean show to yourself or show to others. You're kind of proving what you're capable of, showing like, hey, boss, look, I can do this job, or saying, hey, I can do this. I'll maybe try it again next time. You might say, for example, the school talent show is the perfect time for Claire to display her wonderful singing voice.
展现我们可以说 show 或者是 display 或者是 demonstrate， 所以呢给同学们一个 demonstrate 的例句哦。The contestant demonstrated great cooking skills by preparing a complex dish in 15 minutes. 这位参赛者透过在15分钟内做出一道功夫菜，展现出良好的厨艺。
And here we are talking about a person's potential. And this is all your qualities, skills, and abilities that you can use now or at any time in the future. And it also includes things you might not even realize you can do or things you've never had the chance to show that you can do. And displaying your full potential means you are showing it to others again, saying, hey, look what I can do if you give me the chance. Just, give me the chance to be a manager. Give me the chance to do this. Or if you're, say, an actor, you might say, look, put me in the lead role. Or, hey, no, I can do serious parts as well as comedy parts. Something like that. You've got to give me the chance. You've got to allow me to show this is my full set of abilities.So you might say, this young soccer player has great potential. I'm sure he'll play for his country at a FIFA World Cup one day.
潜能呢，我们可以用 potential 这个字，那常说发挥潜能。英文可以用 achieve、realize 这两个动词，或者是 fulfill one's full potential。所以呢，给同学们最后一个例句咯，我们可以说啊 ，With proper instruction and support, the child opera singer was able to achieve her full potential.In music， 所以在良好的教导和支持下，这位儿童歌剧演唱家得以发挥他的音乐潜能。
Yeah, to achieve your full potential is basically to do everything that you think you can do or other people think you are capable of. Some people just don't have the opportunity. Some people need the right kind of teachers or coaches to bring that out. Some people just need the time. And if you think all those people who were sort of born in the wrong place at the wrong time to demonstrate what they could do,It's just really unfortunate. Some people would just happen to be born, right time, right place, right opportunity, and they became great. The kinds of people whose work we remember for hundreds or thousands of years. They demonstrated their full potential. And others you go, they never had the chance. Go back to those kind of, again, soccer players. Suppose they thought, he's really, really good.And then he got this really bad injury when he was like 22 and he never quite was the same after. You say he never reached his full potential. He never fully recovered from that injury. Or maybe that football player made some bad decisions and didn't work as hard as he could have. That player never reached his full potential. Whereas somebody else who has a great career say, yep, they definitely did it.
对，所以在天时地利人和的状况下，每个人都可以 achieve their full potential.
All right, and that brings us to the end of our unit. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. For English Digest, I'm Pat.
I'm Elsie.
And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.